Let's move on to exercise. All right. So I know I'm almost positive you are not a huge proponent of doing steady state cardio for 60 minutes a day. I never have been either. I mean, you can get some cardiovascular benefits from weight training. Talk to me about specifically about your routine over the course of the week. What's the breakdown? What does it look like exercise wise?
I am a Monday, Wednesday, Friday guy. My workout lasts 30 minutes, no more. It is all based around high intensity resistance training. So I am constantly on the move. I would venture to say that my routine is more cardio than cardio, and which is why there's very little need to do additional. Again, I'm not one to put anybody down who enjoys doing it. That's great. But even the research shows it's not necessary. And so much of my life, my exercise, my approach to everything is built around efficiency. So I want to be as time efficient in everything that I do. Most particularly exercise, which for me, probably like yourself and like many of us, if you started when you were young, you had nothing but time. Right. And a passion for wanting to build more muscle and get stronger, and so you did not mind spending hours upon hours in the gym. And that's what I did. It was the 5 to 7 days a week for 60 to 90 minutes minimum. And that was through all 3 seasons of athletics year round. So it never stopped. And then all of a sudden you get into the real world and you have to work a job and you have to, eventually maybe raise a family. And you realize that, hey, I can't keep up with that. But I think the fallacy in many people's mind is that, oh, that's what I need to keep up with in order to get the result. So I let science dictate what I do. I follow the science. So my routine, as I said, is 3 times a week, 30 minutes. I could cut that down to 2 times a week at 30 minutes and still be within the realm of what science says is actually necessary and beneficial. But I typically will follow a full body routine, but I'm just normally in some type of constant motion, meaning like most people might do, let's say 3 sets of an exercise and, sit there and take a minute rest in between. It's like, I might do, that set and then just move on to another unrelated muscle group, work that, and then come back to that exercise. So it's like, I don't believe in just sort of sitting still and doing nothing. I like being in motion. I like working at a high intensity so that I don't need to do as much. So that's been my philosophy for, again, past 23 years is just go as hard as you can, right? Exercise should be seen as nothing more than a stimulus. That's all it is. You are stimulating your body to get a very specific outcome. And once you provide that stimulus, doing more of that stimulus doesn't produce more of the outcome. Right? Because you're going to be limited by your genetic potential. You're going to be limited by your body's ability to tolerate that exercise stress and recover from it. So I tend to, tell people like, I'd rather you start with the least amount necessary to get a specific result. And then if you want to do more, go ahead and build on that. But what most of us do is we start the opposite way. We feel like, hey, more is better. Let me just keep adding on and adding on. And we never learn what the minimal dose necessary is. And until you do that, you're going to constantly be in this battle, because you're going to feel frustrated when you can't get to the gym 5 days a week. You're going to, feel like, this is not worth it when I can't fit in, the extra hour of cardio after doing my 45 minutes of resistance training. Those things are what I feel disrupts people. And again, I'll just go back to what I said in the beginning, stack habits, stack healthy habits. And more importantly, ones that you can do consistently over time, not go through these periods of like, hey, I'm really ramping it up right now because the calendar just changed over to a new year. Let me try really hard for these next 3 months and then let me fall off and then try to get it back again, come June. So I find like, again, not slow and steady. I'm not about slow and steady wins the race. Go ahead and sprint, but like make sure you're sprinting at a rate that you can actually keep up with. and do long-term. And, you know, to me, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, got it. Mike, I remember doing 2 hours a day, 6 days a week. We took Sunday off. This was in my prime, 20, 21 years old. And it was hard work. It was really hard work. I was exhausted. Now, the fact was that we noticed our biggest gains when the university shut down for 2 weeks due to exams. We'd come back and we're like, I can't believe the strength gains. And then, you know, another time it's Christmas break. University shut down for 2 weeks. You come back and you're stronger than ever. And we're scratching our heads going like, what's the deal here? And then all of a sudden we heard about Dorian Yates and Mike Menser, high intensity training. And we were like, well, what is this all about? Let's get the minimal amount of work done. We dropped from 12 hours down to, I'm going to say probably maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours a week. And that's when I started getting huge, muscular, way stronger than ever. And like, I've made the connection. You grow outside of the gym. You provide the stimulus, just as you said, and you grow outside the gym. So people are hearing you, and I don't think they have enough of a picture of just how good your physique. I'm not going to ask you to take off your shirt, but I mean, you're ripped, you're muscular, you've kept that muscle mass for a very long time, and it's efficient, right? So it speaks to provide the stimulus, let your body grow, get your sleep in, get the proper nutrition in, and like you said, stack good habits, and you've nailed it so well. Could you make your workouts 20 minutes and increase the intensity?
I would say that I could. I have at times. I have eventually fallen into this range that I know feels really good for me.
Yeah.
Because I do understand and appreciate the psychological component as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also part of the reason why you, myself, we did the marathon workouts, is because there was also very much a psychological component to it, where it was like, I have to feel, I got to walk away from this. I got to feel like I actually did something,
yes,
that I did enough. And, you know, as a perfect example, I mean, what I typically will do is I get either one-on-one trained by one of my trainers, or I hop into one of our group training sessions.
Yes.
And, you know, in that environment, I could train at the highest intensity level possible. Mm-hmm. So 30 minutes, like, I'm good. I'm not asking to do any more. I don't feel as though I left anything in the tank. So I know that time frame is good. Now, in the past, I did 10-minute, 20-minute workouts when I was deep into super slow and consolidation routines like Menser had moved towards at the later end of his career. But I found like that wasn't sufficient enough for me. You know, that frequency didn't make me feel good. I didn't look my best. And for me, that 90 minutes a week of training, however it's broken up, whether that's, training 3 days in a row and taking 4 days off, or going every other day. I mean, it really doesn't matter, but I found that if I'm staying within that realm, I'm really good. If I go above that, which I've done as well at times, if I go above it, I can tolerate it, I can maintain it. But then I always need to come back to less frequency, and, in order for it to also fit into my life. And yes. I also found that, hey, there's that law of diminishing returns. You can add the extra day, you can add the extra sets, but like, to what end and to what result? And if you're not seeing the total fruit of that labor, then to me, you're laboring for no reason.
Yeah, perfect. Mike, I'm going to speak for myself here in saying that I've trained for probably 37 years. I started when I was 16, 51 years old now. There was a point in time where I enjoyed training. I haven't enjoyed it for 20 years. It's hard work. The higher the intensity, the harder it is. So I back off on that as well. I hate training. Okay. I do it anyway. Always. I don't miss a beat, but I hate training. How about you? Do you enjoy it?
It's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm definitely not fully on the hate side, but I'm definitely not fully on the love side.
Okay.
I mean, it's in the midst of it, I could get into it. I've always just been like a very competitive person. And so, especially if I'm getting trained by somebody, it's a different mentality than when you're training yourself, which I've done as well.
Yes.
And so that's why today I am very intentional about making sure that when I'm doing my workouts, I'm accountable to somebody.
Yes.
You know, because I know that if I'm trying to hold myself accountable, then that's probably where the scales start to tip, in that I'm not enjoying this side of it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm in that group setting, if one of my trainers are taking me through, like, I'm so much more engaged and feel like, hey, this is a little bit competitive in a way, even though I'm only competing with myself. But that drives me, and I come out of that with so much more fulfillment and actual enjoyment of the workout.